Hello, this is my jazz evaluation. Okay, so this semester we've been working on three different types of jazz, like learning routines in different styles. So we've been going through street jazz, theatre jazz, and in the style of Fosse as well. We did Fosse to Bye Bye Blackbird, we did theatre to Beat It, and also we did Fergalicious to Street. We also, full routine wise, we choreographed our own little dances to Stay by Rihanna, and also we created one as a group, a thematic dance, which was to Rolling from Evita. Yeah, Evita. Overall, I can say, just as a pre-thing, I think jazz itself, to me, isn't like a strong point of mine. There's a lot of the elements that jazz needs which really aren't strong for me. Granted, they have got better since the start of the semester. They have done, but it's still stuff that I find quite hard a lot of the time. So I didn't particularly enjoy it. There were little bits which I did actually enjoy, but on the whole, I didn't particularly enjoy jazz as much as say. Well, I enjoyed tap a lot more, but jazz just wasn't really for me personally. But it's something I've really got to work on. Okay, so I'll start with how my techniques have improved and such through lessons. Okay, I think one of my points which I've improved most on is coordination. Even though I'm not great at coordination, and it is one of my really big struggling points, I believe that with using Mattux, with my arms going in all different directions and stuff like that, it has helped, and with the isolations and stuff, that's helped me, like going over it week by week, and it's very slightly improved, and I can feel it, but I wouldn't be comfortable doing the full Mathematics routine, like adding the legs just yet. I mean, it really just blow my mind. It really would. I feel like my flexibility has improved quite a bit, because we've been doing slight different exercises. Like when I'm at home, when I sit, and like it's just become second nature to sit in different positions and stuff. Like I'll sit against the wall with my legs like spread out and see how far I can push them and keep them there for a bit while I'm watching, like Netflix or something like that. And also sitting in like the like lying down and having your legs out that way and in, like with your feet touching together. And I've done that quite a few times, and I can feel that coming along much better. I'm naturally a little bit more flexible than quite a few people, but this has helped quite a lot. With for example, the jazz walks and the jazz pirouettes and the pressure turns and stuff like that, the technique exercises that we were doing, they've improved over the weeks. Pirouettes mainly, I used to throw myself around quite a hell of a lot, and then as the weeks went on, I learned to control it a little bit more, and because I didn't used to pull up much, but now I can pull up when I turn a lot better, which helps very much. And I've got a little bit more used to, like, when I do a full do a full pirouette, I can land I can land straight on quite comfortably now. With pressure turns, I still wasn't 100% because my balance is really bad and I get dizzy very easily. So even when I was spotting, and I could spot quite well, but I'd still get really dizzy when I was doing it anyway. So the week before the assessment, I was just doing one preparation, then one pressure turn, then one preparation, then one pressure turn. And then on the assessment, I tried to just do pressure turn, pressure turn, pressure turn, pressure turn, after a couple of breaks between, and I still got a bit dizzy. But I do feel like they have come on a lot more, because before, when I tried to pressure turn one after the other, I think I almost fell over with how dizzy that I got. So that's improved quite a lot. One part which I don't think I've improved on much at all is the footwork to walk this way. One of the technique exercises we were doing, I find there's a lot of stuff which I have to keep in mind when we're doing this, and I've already explained in blogs, and I've explained to Georgie and stuff. It's just how, like, I'm wired up. It's possibly because of the dyspraxia. It's possibly because of well, a number of other things which I experience with my coordination and everything like that. It could be to do with that, but I have to focus so much on each movement that I don't think about the what we actually have to do. Like with each step in the warm up, not the warm up, sorry, in the walk this way, I can do them. I know what I have to do, but like I go wrong. Like when we're meant to stay completely pulled up and straight, because my balance is so awful. When I try and like move my leg forward, I have to lean back, otherwise I'll fall over. And it's not something that's ever really got better with me. I can try, and I don't know whether it was on the assessment or the week before the assessment, where like Georgie came up to me and she just like showed me how it should be done, but I just couldn't balance. I had to actually hold on to her a bit just to make sure I didn't fall over, which it annoys me a hell of a lot. This is partly the reason. My balance and my coordination is basically the main reason why I really didn't enjoy it as much as I could do, because everything relies on that really at the basis of it. So it's one of them things which I didn't particularly get better at. I did try. I did go over the routine quite a few times, and then we added the bits at the end where we go up onto our toes and then turn out and then lower and then back in. And I found that quite difficult too, because it was I don't know why, it's just something just doesn't compute sometimes with this style, and I find it really difficult. So I didn't particularly enjoy it, and I didn't particularly do well in it, in my own personal opinion. I think when we actually performed, when we performed the three dances, the techniques did help. The techniques did help a lot, in the sense that because we'd been over them week after week after week after week, they all got slightly better with me. So even though my performance in the three dances weren't anything mind-blowing, it's a lot better than it would have been if, say, I'd learnt them before doing all these exercises. I think I still need to one thing that I've got to work on properly is my when we're doing the second position stretch, I have to make sure that I push. I think when I need to push my legs down a lot more, and it's push my legs down while we're in second, because it's, I don't know why I do it. I automatically pull my knees up when I do the scoop, and that's something that I tried to correct, but then I couldn't scoop properly, and then it felt really strange. And there was a couple of times that I actually did it properly during previous lessons, I think, but then it just it just happened, which wasn't great. So I'm rather displeased with how we did with that. With the moving on now to the solo piece, which we choreographed ourselves, which was to Stay by Rihanna. It's kind of strange. I'm not a choreographer person. I don't really choreograph much stuff, and I'm not much of a dancer myself. But when it comes to, I used the first time I choreographed it, I used a lot of the movements that were in technique exercises, and then it just felt kind of, it didn't feel like it fit with the music, even though they were technique exercises and they were jazz and they were they could fit, like they fit with the music, but it didn't fit. It personally didn't feel like it felt right to do them kind of movements. So and we got back to lesson and went over them again, and it had slipped my mind because it just didn't feel right, and then I just lost everything. I completely forgot what I'd done. I forgot everything. And then it come to the next week, and we had to perform them in front of the group, and I'd forgot what I'd done in the technique exercise and everything like that. So I kind of just improvised. I just improvised. I just let my body just go. I started off on the floor, and then the music came on, and I just moved how it felt right, and then we showed them back, and Georgie said that she liked how I'd pulled in from different, from stuff from outside the lesson and all that lot. But I had done, it's stuff that I had seen before, but I'd never actually done before. It just fit quite well. So I worked on that, and then when it came to the final assessment, I added a little couple of things in, and I strengthened what I did last week, and it went quite well. I'm quite proud of it. Then choreographing the group thematic to Rolling, I quite enjoyed this actually. The song's really catchy, and it's excitable, and it's fun, and it's not like, you don't need excellent balance, and you don't need perfect, you don't need perfect legs together, and you don't need all pulled up and everything like that, all at once. So we just had a bit of fun with it. So I put all my ideas into it, and we used quite a lot of them, and we just had fun with it, really. I'm quite proud with what we came up with in just such a short space of time. It was a great. It's a great little part of music to do a little bit of a dance too. I think should we have got more time on it and made it a little bit longer, I think we could have added a lot more stuff into it and made it a bit more. We could work on the character more and the personality of it more after we'd got the movements nailed and everything like that. we did. I think on the actual assessment, I I really hurt my arm because I was doing a forward roll through everyone that were making a big arch over, and on the assessment I really messed up. Like usually when I throw myself over for a forward roll, but my hand slipped underneath me, so I ended up like hitting my shoulder really hard on the floor, and it it really did hurt quite a lot. But I still kept going, so I didn't just give up, which I'm quite happy with. And I'm quite happy with the group because we all put a lot of energy into it, and we did stick to the theme, and it was quite entertaining to do. Now we'll move on to the first dance that we did, which I can say that
this was by far the least favourite for me. I'm really self-conscious when it comes to jazz. I mean, I'm self-conscious when it comes to dance anyway. But when we first learnt the routine, when we had someone from outside come in to teach us, it had a lot of extremely feminine moves in, and the song itself is Fergalicious, which I wouldn't feel comfortable dancing anything to, really, if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. So I already had a really bad feel about the song when we started, and then because my movements aren't like proper sharp and they aren't strong usually, like it's just, personally I find it quite hard to get everything really snappy and sharp. That's the style of it as well, and that just didn't really agree with me to start with, and I just didn't want to do it. If I'm going to be perfectly honest, I really did not want to do it, and I was hoping that we wouldn't have to carry on with it. But then in the preceding weeks after, we altered a lot of the more feminine moves into something. Well, me and Lee, our movements were altered to make it more masculine, and anything like that, which helps me a lot. The problem is, like I was saying with the self-conscious stuff, there's always people around the top of our space. Like it's a big open space where lots of people come, and it's not necessarily supportive people, it's not people who enjoy it, it's not really people who actually take any interest in it, it's just people who want to take the mick. And with something which I feel extremely self-conscious about, it really affected my performance in all the rehearsals that we did it. I just felt really horrible every time I did it, which also dampened my views on this whole unit, really. It didn't give me a chance to get my confidence up in this before people started patrolling around the top and, like, you know, doing things that made us feel self-conscious. But I'm not really a full-on quitter, so I did try, and I learned little bits of, I learned the routine, and I looked at it outside of lessons and tried to get it as good as I could. Then when it came to the actual assessment, when we got the costume on and everything like that, I felt a bit more confident with it, since it was like we all learnt the full routine, but it was broken down into little chunks now, that each of us performed, and I found it much better and much less daunting to do that. And while it didn't particularly give me a massive challenge as a dancer, it still gave me a bit of a challenge personally, which, you know, I think I did quite well. I mean, I wasn't very sharp, and I wasn't very, like, using the techniques for street and everything like that. I wasn't particularly perfect, but I still I did the best I could at the time, and that's all I could give for that. Moving on to Bye Bye Blackbird. I'm quite happy with this one, actually. Fosse, I picked the first time I ever did Fosse. I picked it up quite quickly because a lot of it is not lots of different arms and legs going off all in different directions and everything like that. It's usually quite it's very strange and they're very odd, but I usually pick it up quite well. And we picked up Bye Bye Blackbird. We finished the whole routine in a day, which is quite good for movement retention. I think we did that really well, the whole of us as a group. It's a very fun, it was quite a fun dance to do. I believe that given more time, again with the character, given more time we could have worked on character and how we showed ourselves and how we portrayed like the character of the song and everything like that. But movements wise, I think we all did really, really well, especially with the addition of the hat and the short amount of time that we learnt that routine in. It's quite a technical routine. It's not a very long one, but yeah, I'm quite proud. I feel quite. I quite enjoyed that part. That is one of the parts of this whole like unit which I enjoyed. Sorry. With a lot of the movements and stuff with the Bye Bye Blackbird, I found it quite easy to do. Like, they weren't extremely intense moves that needed perfect sharpness, and they didn't need, again, balance. I suppose they didn't need balance. It just needed like some smoothness and like a little bit more relaxed, like grounded stuff, which helped me, which made me feel a lot better about it anyway. And I do like Fosse, so it gave me a good positive attitude about it. And when it comes to the assessment, I think we all did really well. We all kept it together. I think I possibly did the wrong movement. I stuck the wrong leg out, the wrong knee out. I put the left leg out when I was meant to put the right leg out, which isn't great, but what can I do about it? It was just a genuine mistake. But overall, yeah, I really liked that one. And then Beat It. Beat It was Beat It again. We didn't have that long to learn this. It was over the space of like 2 or 3 weeks, which went okay. The movement retention for that wasn't particularly something to dance about. Pardon the pun. It's a good song. I enjoy the song itself, but each time we came back to it, I'd forgot what our choreography was. Mine and Lee. I've forgotten what our choreography was a couple of times that we went back to it. But we watched the routine again and we picked it up again. And, the more we did it, the more we got used to it. But I feel a little bit sad that I didn't remember it sooner, because I would have been able to work on character a bit more, and I would have been able to work on the stronger movements and such, rather than worry about that constantly. But that was the main bad part about that dance. I think one thing that was really, really strange, which I found completely mind-blowingly strange actually, was the first time that we actually learnt this, I had a really, really bad shoulder, and in the bits where we swing both arms over, I could only swing one arm over, and because of like muscle memory and everything like that, even when my shoulder was fixed, I found myself only doing one arm over, and that's something I had to overcome, because we'd gone over the routine that many times where I just didn't use this arm because my shoulder was like really bad. My muscles just kind of remembered that it was just one, so I had to keep drilling it into my head that it was both arms and both arms, and it was straight after the both arms where we had to like turn 180 degrees twice with arms out,
um, it was that afterwards, and I found that I got lost with that quite a lot, because it just kept throwing me off. I was only moving one arm, and it did really annoy me. I looked at it, and when it came to the actual assessment, I used both arms. That made me quite happy. I think the costumes in all three dancers helped quite a lot, because it gives us a bit more character and a bit more. It felt a bit more like we were part of it rather than just dancing to the song. We all, as a group, I mean, I know we're possibly not the easiest people to work with, and I, for one, I'm not a talented dancer, and I know I'm not. But I will give a lot of stuff a go, even when it really makes me want to scream. But overall, I am quite, even though I didn't really enjoy it, I'm quite proud with what we've come out with. I mean, given a few more weeks, and like, if we had a bit more of a personal space where people weren't constantly watching, I mean, I know that the field that we're wanting to go into has people watching you all the time, and I understand that. But while we haven't got the confidence, I think it's quite a bad space to work in. Like, for example, even on the assessment, the people which I was talking about around the top of the dome, the rehearsal space that we use, they were like laughing at a couple of people that were doing their combinations, and it's just not fair, really, especially on an assessment, when we're all getting analysed of what our strengths and weaknesses are, and that happens quite a lot. So I feel that, given the chance to do it all again, I think we'd all try a little bit better, and we'd all feel a lot more confident about it if we were in a different space. But yeah, sorry, I've gone off on a tangent. With Beat It, I managed to retain in the end all the movements and everything like that. I did try really hard. I didn't fall over doing the chaîné turns, which I thought I would do, because I did do a couple of times before, but pulling up and doing them chaînés were a lot easier after we'd gone over them through technique exercises and everything like that. So with all the with everything that we've done in jazz, they've all helped towards the final three performances, and they've all, personally, I don't think I've done myself justice. It irritates me quite a bit, actually, to think that I haven't done the best I could have done, but circumstances affected it quite a bit. But I just wish that I'd kind of looked past all that, and the people who, you know, try and demean people. I wish I'd kind of just looked past that and just, you know, blanked them out and ignored them. But it's just how I felt in myself. It just didn't feel right to. I weren't able to fully commit to it whilst they were all up there, and that's just something I guess I have to work on, my self-confidence, and it's not easy, but it's something I'm going to have to do, because in the future, if I do get, say, an acting job or a musical or something like that where we have to do this kind of stuff, is something I'm going to have to do, and I understand that. So I kind of do feel quite bad. My weaknesses, my self-confidence, my balance, and my ability, my strength of holding myself up, and my techniques, really. I need to learn my techniques a little bit better and perform them a little bit better, and give it more personality. And strength, I didn't quit. There was a couple of times where I just wanted to quit, but I didn't. I persevered quite a lot, Another strength is movement retention. I think I've improved in movement retention quite a lot over this term, and even though I did mess up sometimes and I didn't retain everything, it has been a lot better than it's been in the past. And also just general, just with how I kind of perceive everything, really. Like at the very start of the term, all the techniques and stuff, I felt awful doing them. I felt like I felt quite stupid doing a lot of it while the people were around the top, and it was still there by the end of it, but I'd felt I'd kind of learned to control it a lot more and how I felt about it, which is really something if you think about it, for someone who just doesn't feel right in themselves doing that sort of thing. And that's about everything, really. Overall, I haven't really enjoyed it that much, but I have liked the fact that I've improved a lot in my skills, and I've improved a lot in my self-confidence in dance, and like in general, even though it's not raised much, it's still quite a big leap for me personally. And I think if we worked on something in the future, or if I get a job which involves this, then I feel that these techniques have really given me leaps and bounds on the way to actually doing that, rather than just turning it down because of this style. I think this has actually given me the drive that I'd need to say, look, I can do this. All I need to do is focus and shut every bad aura out and shut out the bad people. So that is my evaluation. Thank you.